Hi everybody, today we're going to talk about the area model. So first I'm going to talk about area model multiplication. And with that, the first step, again, you have area model multiplication. We're still using A equals length times width, and we're still going to use some boxes. Now, I'm just going to, it's to me, for especially when you see a single digit number like 3,791 times 6. Well, you can, the expanded, not expanded, standard way is a lot easier because you can just say 1 times 6, 4 carry the 5, 42, plus 5 is 47, carry the 4, and 3 times 6 is 18, plus 4 is 22. And there's your answer. But you can also break it up because think about it. This is still the same since you're multiplying. Is A is equal to your length times your width. So the best thing for you to do is break the numbers into expanded form. And that's how you would get it. Now, I will also show you, especially when you see a 2-digit by 2-digit number, like 62 times 46. Well, now you know it's 60 plus 2 times 40 plus 6. And then you just use your base numbers. 6 times 4 is 24. Stick 2 zeros at the end. And then the last step is to add your area. And so if I go by this side, I know 80 plus 12 is going to be 92. And let me rewrite this that way. It's easier to add it. 0, 6, 7, and the 2, I bring it down. And so as a whole, my answer is going to be 2,852. Now, I do want to discuss area model division more because that's what's been throwing more students off. And there's not too many videos that do it the way we do it. I like to simplify it to break it down as to where you're still looking for A equals length times width. Your number's still going to be smaller, but you're going to subtract multiples out in your box. You're still going to have zeros at the end, but instead of looking for areas, you're going to look for the lengths. And then you're going to add the lengths. So the last step of any area model is to add. And then what you're going to do, if there's anything left, you just stick it in the last box. So let's say we have 100 divided by 12. As you can see, we have our multiples of 12 on here. So what I would do is write the box, draw the box. And my small number in this case will be 12. So that's my width. Remember, in this case, they gave you the area. They gave you the width, but we don't know the length. So that means we're going to have to divide. So what I'm going to do here is rewrite that multiple, the number, and see if I can pull the multiples of 12 out. Now, if I look, 12 can get close to 100. The multiple would be 96. So I'm going to fit that in there and subtract it out. And remember, taking a larger number, the 0 in the middle becomes a 9, last becomes a 10. So 10 minus 6 is 4. 9 minus 9 is 0. So that means, oh, and I got my multiple too. Don't forget, you always have to stick your multiple in the box. And then I have my last number, which is 4. 12 times what gives me 86? And the answer is 12 times 8. And then I would say 12 times nothing gives me 4. So that's going to be my remainder. So the answer is 8 with a remainder of 4. I'll do another one. Let's do 1,926 divided by 5. Now, remember, the first thing I like to do, and I tell my students, is draw that box, that rectangle. And then you just go ahead and put your width on the short side. Because look, this little side is obviously the width. The longer side is the lengths. And the goal is to find the lengths. Now I'm going to rewrite the number so that way I can easily subtract out the multiples of 5. So the first thing I'm going to do is look at this whole gigantic number and look at all my multiples of 5. It would be easier to fit 5 into 19. And so I'm going to use that 15 is the closest number. So I'm going to write it under the 19 because I wasn't fitting it under 26. I'm fitting it under 19. You might say, what do I do with those extra spaces? Well, since we're pulling out a multiple, we know that it can go on forever and ever and ever. And so what I'm going to do is stick 2 zeros at the end and make it a really big multiple. So I'm just going to 6 minus 0 is 6. 2, 9 minus 5 is 4. So the multiple that I pulled out, remember where our goal is to pull multiples out of that big number so we can stick it in the box. So I'm going to stick 1,500 in the box, or 1,500. And now I look and I will see 426. Well, I can actually make it fit inside 42. And I look at what multiple of 5, and 40 is my closest number. So that means I'm going to write 40 under 42 and stick a 0. That's right, at the end. And now I'm going to use 25 because that multiple is the absolute closest. And so I already know by default, whatever you have left over, that's your last box. That is my remainder already. Now I'm going to say 5 times what gives me 15 is 3. I stick 2 zeros at the end. 5 times what gives me 40, and the answer is 8. And I stick that extra 0 at the end. See how I'm underlining my base numbers? You can even box them so you realize, yep, I'm going to have a 0 left over. Yep, I'm going to have 2. Because there you can clearly see, because some kids might accidentally put 2 zeros at the end because they see 2 zeros in the number, but 40 will be taken up, and 40 already has that 0. Now, 5 times 5. In the last step, add the lengths. So the answer is 385 with a remainder of 1. And so I'll do one more. And I'll say, let's say we got 96 divided by 4. Or I can even say 3. So what I'm going to do, again, step 1, draw that box. Step 2, rewrite the number and pull your multiples out. And 3 can actually make 9. So I'm going to go ahead and put that 0 at the end, make that 9. And I know my multiple will be 96. And 3 can actually make 6 spot on, so I don't even have to break it up. I can just stick 6 already inside. And so 3 times 3 equals 9. And I stick that 0 at the end. And then 3 times 2 is 6. And I add it up, and my answer is going to be equal to 32. So I hope you see how this goes. To me, it makes it easier. And therefore, you can easily tell what's going to be in your biggest place. Like if I said, okay, I need answer choices here. I'm going to show you how the state test might ask you. They might say, find the quotient. And they might write 695. Now, let's just say 94 divided by 2. And they might say A. Now we got our answer choices up here. And what we're going to do, you can look here and easily see the hundreds place. Now, if you look, all of these numbers have that same thing. So what we're going to do is just go ahead and draw our box and rewrite the number. Put our width down. The number as a whole is 692, and we're trying to fit multiples. I know 2 can make 6 very easily out of this. So I'm going to write the multiple that matches it and stick 2 zeros at the end and subtract. Remember, whatever multiple you pull out, you stick in your box. And I already know 2 could get close to 9 8 times. So not 8 times, but the multiple would be 8. And so I subtract. And then over here, my answer is 12, and 2 can actually make exactly 12. So I'm just going to go ahead and stick it in my box. I'm just going to put my links on this side. And then I'm just going to look at my base numbers. And whatever zeros I have left, I stick it at the end if I need to. 2 times 3 equals 6, and I stick 2 zeros at the end. 2 times 4 gives me 8, and I stick that 1 0 at the end. And 2 times 3, no, I'm sorry. 2 times 6. And so if you look at it here, I see what I did. I accidentally rushed, and instead I should have had a 4. There we go. See? Shame on me. All right, it won't make that much of a difference. And see how I accidentally did that? That's why I always tell my students also rush. We're human. Look over your work. Okay, so yeah, you should have 14. There we go. That's what's making sense now. Now you easily know it's going to be in your ones place. So you should have been able to easily cross out these two just by looking at that 14. And then you should have said that it's going to be your tens place. So you can see your ones, your hundreds, your tens, and even your 1. All right, thanks for watching. I hope this helps. Have a blessed day.